All right, for anybody who wants to go through this torture with me, um, I am starting to do more mixing the way I should have been originally for decades ago, where I'm, treating it more as a business and really concentrating on the mixing end. And I keep seeing all these guys who are actually doing it successfully, and they hire off Fiverr or maybe some local engineers, whatever, mix assistants. They call them assistants that set up their templates and do a bunch of. All right, let me get this out of the way. I understand that people can call this like a one size fits all cookie cutter thing, pulling up templates or whatever. I don't really begrudge them that because there is kind of, for most of the pop producers out there, there is kind of a standard sound that people are looking for, and it's probably fine, keep getting consistent results as long as you got the same sort of inputs and whatever. Seems okay to me. I kind of start from pretty much scratch most of the time. Sadly, I think maybe I can do better than that. Change that in the future. Anyway, my issue is these guys charge. Most engineers around here charge 4 or 5 times what I do. A lot of times they don't have some of the more basic knowledge. A lot of times they don't fix anything. They just kind of do a levels, faders up sort of rough mix, and that's the thing. And it still costs more than if people were coming to me. But they're doing it professionally. They're doing it business wise. They're probably doing it the right way, whereas I'm not. So but a lot of these guys who are charging a lot more are hiring these assistants, and man, it's horrible. The drum editing is absolutely awful. I mean, if you've been watching me, you've seen zillions of videos of me editing drums, and in fact, here's another one right here. And maybe I'm not perfect, maybe I'm not the best, but I don't leave glaring mistakes all over the place. Flams, missed hits, extra hits, spitty crossfades, um, just bad drum edits in general, poor alignment, just splitting at the wrong place, like chopping off transients when you don't want to, or adding transients when you really don't want to. And then, the drum replacement was pretty dubious, but the one that really got me is this vocal tuning, and they're like running it through like one of these automatic tuners. Like everybody uses the term auto tune. I don't think people know auto tune. Like in reality, you don't. I don't know, if you want it to sound good, you don't use it in automatic mode. You actually graphically edit, and it's actually can be very transparent, sometimes completely, or it can be hammered. But these guys are all running it through this automatic stuff, and it sounds like T-Pain, and even on stuff that's supposed to sound really natural. So it's nuts. So I wanted to see, and I've watched these videos of these professionals. I wanted to see some other ones where they're actually telling you other gurus that are saying how to prepare a mix. So one of these I found was one of these, I don't know what to call them. It's like all the hey bro trucker hat studio guys you see on all these channels. Colt Caparoon. What was this one called? Mix Prep Like a Pro. So let's take a look at this thing real quick.
Bye for another video. I'm Colt Caparoon. Today I kind of want to go over how to prep a song for mix, whether you're mixing the song yourself or whether you're sending your production
Oh,
song
okay.
out to a mix engineer.
Why is this not playing? Hold on. Oh, yeah, I'm still so much enjoying just how ridiculously hard it is to get audio from one place to another in Windows. App volume and device preferences. Let's see. So I have YouTube going out to 7 and 8. Allegedly here. See, it says this, but that doesn't mean it's actually happening. So let's see if this is happening.
This is how I recommend that everyone prep it. So we're going to go.
So here's 7 and 8. 7 and 8's actually going.
Like track organization.
Okay, so where is that going to? It's going to 31 and 32.
Everything completely ready to mix. This is not going to be a short video, so if
YouTube
you don't
7
have
and
time
8.
to watch this whole
YouTube's 7 and 8. Audio 7 and 8. Right here. Audio 7 and 8 capture. So I'll just show you my obs. It's always something. No, not default. 7 and 8. Oh, I wish that stuff wouldn't change.
thing, add it to your favorites, add it to your watch later, and come back and check it out when you have some time. But I think there'll be some things in here that will benefit everybody. Before we get into it, this video is sponsored by Sweetwater. There are links down below.
Okay.
Now, the reason why there's a bunch of stuff in here that either...
And this is my thing lately, is I've been getting so many tracks. Like this project I got here, 175 tracks. This is not... Like, I'm used to, like, you know, 20, 30 tracks, 40 maybe, 50 maybe. And then now we're talking 175 tracks. Holy crap. But really, it's more manageable than it looks. There's some tricks to this one. So, but I will definitely be charging more for stuff like that. So let's see what this guy, sorry.
Is not going to make it in the final version of the song, or it no longer needs to be in here, is because I'm a big fan of leaving everything that we've done in the session until the song is approved to mix. And the reason is because it's a shocking number of times where
I don't know that we want to
like
watch a 44-minute version. Let me see about some other ones. I think it's the same guy, but now he's not a trucker hat bro. He's like a different kind of beardo. Mix prep, 13 minutes. Let's see. So this is his process, but then he'd be the one hiring the assistant, not the one doing it, right? Oh, well, let's see. Look.
Little pump is starting to get a little old. This one, don't forget to subscribe. Absolutely some things that I do to get ready for mixing. So first thing in the morning, I wake up, I try to get a shower in before my daughter wakes up. Next thing after that, coffee stuff plays into not be Facebook, that coffee, distraction of clutter, or the distraction, I mean, if you're at home in a home studio, the distraction of the dishes needing done.
I like the ergonomics part, but that's not really what we're here for.
To maintain. Pick your studio up on top of that thing. We're gonna pull up some, it's like Southern pop is what we're calling it. It's pop with a Southern country twist. So I'm gonna pull up some references. Unfortunately, I will just tell you guys the reference.
And this is what I'm worried about too. If I play the reference, man, I'm getting nailed. I have enough trouble with these copyright trolls and ID content creator trolls and criminals.
Because I can't actually put them.
I'm looking at you, Audio Micro and Ad Rev, by the way.
On the video, otherwise the video will get yanked and demonetized. So that's no good. Okay, so the first reference is an artist by the name of Nico Moon. I'm not analyzing.
Okay, so references. Okay.
Stack.
I'm not sure if this one's actually going to show this mix.
Sorry about that. So we're going to launch Pro Tools, and the first thing that I'm going to do is actually set the whole session up. Everything that I absolutely know for sure I'm going to do in this song, and I already have a good idea because I already know the song and have heard it. But I'm going to go ahead and set, I don't use any templates ever because I work on such a wide variety of music, and I always want the song to inform me on what the song needs. And I do, or use the plugins or hardware. The decisions that I make, even the routing decisions, are based on what the song informs me that.
All right, so I don't think this one's going to be really a mix prep video.
Through a pair of Cappy Hyder preamps, then into a Serpent SB4000. We are through my hardware vocal chain.
Yeah, okay, sorry. So this isn't really mix prep. Let's see, mix prep for better mixes from mastering.com, formerly musician on a mission 3 years ago. Let's see what this one is.
Are you looking to create?
So now I'm starting to wonder if this is what you get when you search for this. If this is why these mix prep engineers are so bad. But then why would you put that in your video showing how you charge clients for mixes, man? Like, it was bad, really bad, bad.
Well, by the end of this video, you're going to understand part of the reason why you're not, and it's in your mix prep. Let's get started. Hello everybody, my name is Dylan Pines, here with another mixing tutorial for you. Today we're going to be talking about mix prep. In my opinion, maybe the most important stage of the entire mix outside of the volume balance. This is something that gets so overlooked in so many mixes. People who will sort of just get their tracks and just get started, they'll just run with it. Honestly, that's going to hurt you more than help you. If you can do the proper mix prep, to prep your tracks to actually get started with mixing, and that's organization, that's editing, that's a lot of different things, you are going to have a much, much better mix and also a much faster mix. So it's a little...
I believe this because I kind of dabble in each part as I'm going through the mix. Like I pretty much get the drums mixed and then I start looking at the vocals. I know that's terrible, but whatever.
Boring now, but faster mixes, better mixes. It's kind of like that Abraham Lincoln quote, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Right now, all we're doing, axe sharpening. So a quick disclaimer before I get into my personal process for mix prep. This is a lot. I'm not gonna have time to explain everything because a lot of the stuff I'm going to be covering is going into a concept that I just simply don't have time to discuss in this video. So I'm including videos in the description on all of these different topics that I'm just sort of breezing through without actually discussing. You'll see a little note up on screen if a video is available on that subject. So that said, let's just dive right in. So mix prep is really 4 different phases, okay? Phase 1, organization. Phase 2, editing. Phase 3, balancing and enhancing. And phase 4, final prep. So let's dive straight into...
I think most of us would agree on 3 of these 4. I don't know about that balancing part, but whatever. Let's take a look.
Phase 1. So the first part of phase 1, honestly, you should be getting done with a template. And that's coloring your tracks, creating your markers, getting your routing correct, creating your track stacks, doing all that kind of stuff. All this stuff I have up on screen now, this is something that you can just create a template to do. You don't have to do it every single time during a mix. So let's assume you've already got that stuff done. We are going to start at the very beginning. First off, you gotta save and name the track. So I'm going to really quickly save this track. I'm gonna be using a track called Tired Friend by the band Adventureland. It's out right now. And I'm gonna just call this Prep. Next thing I'm gonna do is set the tempo, the key, and the time signature. So you can see I've actually already done this before the video because I had to call the guys, make sure I knew. It's 127 BPM in 4/4. It's an E major. So you don't really need the key. That's really more just for your reference if you need to do any kind of tuning, anything like that. It's there for you. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I have a 0 measure added into my session. And that's because this song might have some pickup notes. So I want to make sure that it has some kind of buffer going into
I buffer like
measure
3 or 4 measures worth, but yeah, good idea.
So that I'm not cutting off any of those pickup notes. And all I'm talking about is really just dragging this back. So
But make sure you're not wrecking all the time signature markers and stuff in case you have them in your project already, when you do that.
that you're able to have this extra little measure. So the next thing you're going to want to do is go up to your preferences. You're going to want to make sure that your buffer size is as high as possible. Now, the reason for that is it basically just allows your computer to handle as much data as possible. And you're going to have a lot of data going on once you start adding all these plugins for your mixing. So set that as high as you can and you'll be good to go. Okay, so now we're going to import our
We could have a whole discussion about that one, but not a bad idea.
audio files. This is super simple. You're just going to bring up a folder with all the audio files already in it. You're just going to drag them in. Nice and easy. Okay, so we've got our audio files all ready to go now. So now the next thing we're going to want to do is to drag them onto their actual tracks. The way my template is set up is I have all these tracks already set. So I'm literally just going to grab and drag. So I'm going to grab all my drums. I'm going to move those down. I'm going to deal with the actual organization in a bit. Grab my bass. I'm just going to drag everything together. Why not? Okay, now I'm going to grab my electric guitars. Okay, moving on to my vocals. Okay, so now we've got all of our different audio files dragged onto the correct tracks. So the next thing I'm going to want to do is to color these audio files to make sure that they match the rest of the coloring. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to select everything. And every DAW does this differently. In Logic, I'm going to go up here. I'm going to click Color Regions by Track Color. Nice and easy. Simple as that. Okay, next I'm going to gain stage the files. So the way I do this is I actually will normalize all of the files to -6 dBs, just to make sure that they're never clipping. I don't want them ever to clip at any point of the song. And then I'm going to use a VU meter to quickly move them roughly into the right spot. Okay, so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to select normalize region gain. I'm going to select individual regions. I'm going to select peak. I'm going to select -6 dBs. You can see all of them changed. Now all the gain is set to where it's all peaking at -6 decibels. Perfect. Now I'm going to really quickly come over here. I'm going to go to my output. I've got a VU meter. I'm going to really quickly make sure that all of these are sitting around 0 dB VU. Okay, so now that we've gain staged everything, now it's time to do a super quick 2-minute volume balance. This is just for us while we're editing. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, that's sounding pretty good to my ears. Again, doesn't need to really be perfect at all. It's just to make sure that I can do my editing okay. So the final thing I'm gonna do during phase 1 is to reorganize all of these markers into the actual song sections. I want to be able to make sure that I can quickly move from section to section without having to search and find the intro or the verses or the choruses or anything like that. So I'm going to quickly listen through and rename these. Okay, cool. So I've gotten that done. You can see I've got each of my sections nice, clearly labeled, clearly colored. It's going to be nice and easy to actually get to where I need to go during the mix. So now we're going to be moving on to phase 2 of our mix prep, and that is editing. Now, some people don't actually consider this to be mix prep. I definitely do. I am preparing for the best mix I possibly can get. So I'm going to be going in and editing and making sure all these audio tracks sound as good as I can get them. So there's a few steps inside of the editing phase, and we're going to be going through each one in order. So step 1 is fixing the phase. So you're going to be looking for stereo tracked instruments, and you're going to be checking their waveforms. And you can see if you can nudge things together to make them feel more full. And that's just because when stuff is tracked, not everything really sounds all that good in phase. The phase might have gotten messed up. So all you're going to do is you're going to go into the tracks, you're going to make them super big, you're going to zoom in, and you're going to listen, and you're just going to see if there's any parts of any tracks that feel like they are off of each other. You want to make sure that you are lining up the peaks and the valleys as close as you can, because then you're going to be getting the most accurate sound possible, and you're not going to be getting any phase cancellation. So for example, I just aligned this part. Let's listen to what it sounds like now that I've done the phase work. And let's listen to what it sounded like before. Here's after again. Now, of course, there's still a little bit of phasiness in there, but it's not nearly as bad as it was earlier. And you can even see most of these are quite a bit more lined up than they were before. So you're going to want to make sure that you do that for the entire mix, anything that's been stereo tracked. So I'm going to go through and do that right now. Okay, so now that step 1 is done, we're going to move on to step 2, which is comping. Now, if you don't know what comping is it's basically just creating the best track out of multiple performances of the same part. Usually it's used for vocals. Like if you have 7 or 8 different vocal takes, you're going to want to listen to each one of them and see if you can cut the best phrases from each so that you have one fantastic vocal. Now, unfortunately for me, for this one, I have a single vocal track. That's all I have. I don't actually have any doubles or anything that I could use to create a comp. So for this particular song, we're not going to have any comping that we can do. But if you recorded your own song at home, you probably are going to have a lot of comps to create that comp track. So what we're going to do after this is step 3, which is cleaning. First off, we're going to be doing what's known as strip silence. We are trying to get rid of all of the silence in these tracks because a lot of times just noise lives in there. Maybe the background air conditioning, or maybe it's the singer making lip smacks and humming their lines, stuff like that. We just don't really want it in there. So all I'm going to do is go through and get rid of the silence. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to remove silence, and I'm going to strip silence from all of these tracks. Cool. So now you can see I've gone through and I've done all my cleaning. You can see all the space has been removed, all that silence is gone, but now there's going to be a lot of weird chops and clips. So first off, I'm going to do some fades just where I know crossfades are not necessary, because there's just one region and none of the regions are touching. Okay, so I'm going to select out, and I'm also going to have a fade in as well, super short. Okay, and now I'm going to select the ones that I know are going to need some crossfading because they're touching each other, which honestly in this particular mix is not that many. I'm probably going to do it for my vocals as well. Great. So that's just going to keep all of these different files from clipping there at the end. Now, for these ones that have fade outs, I might honestly add a little bit of a longer fade to the end of them, just to make sure there's not any weird noise going on. Cool. That all looks good to me. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add noise gates on my drums and electric guitars. Now I was listening through, I don't actually think that this particular mix is going to need any sort of electric guitar gating, but the drums definitely will, because I'm going to want to get a drier sound on the kicks, the snares, and the toms. So I'm going to go and do that real quick. Okay, very cool. I've got my drums gated, so now I'm going to want to move on and transfer my vocal breaths onto a new track. And I do that just because I want to more easily be able to control the volume of my breaths while I'm mixing. And I've got a pretty creative way of doing this. I've got a video on it. It's in the description right now that uses Waves D breath. So I'm going to get this done real quick. All right, so now I have my track that's only breaths, and I've got my track that is no breaths, which I will be doing a bounce in place on this in a little bit, but I don't want to do it quite yet. So now that I've done that, I'm going to do my final step of cleaning. I'm going to de-ess my vocals and my background vocals. I'm going to do it pretty subtly, because sometimes I like to add de-essing later on in the mix as well. This is just to massage the S's in the right direction. So I'm going to go down here, I'm going to add my de-esser, and I'm going to go to town.
Hello, tired friend.
Okay, so that's all of the de-essing I want to do. I've got some subtle de-essing on the lead vocals, on the background vocals. That's all of my cleaning. So now let's move on to step 4, which is gain automation. Now all this means is we're going to be making sure that the gain, like the relative level of different sections of different instruments, is staying around the same spot. It's going to help us to get much, much better compression levels. So for example...
So, okay, sorry, I had some people in. I'm really worried that the editing spot is like, okay, let's just watch this again. Sorry about that.
Now we're going to be moving on to phase 2 of our mix prep, and that is editing. Now, some people don't actually consider this to be mix prep. You know, I definitely do. I am preparing for the best mix I possibly can get. So I'm going to be going in and editing and making sure all these audio tracks sound as good as I can get them. So there's a few steps inside of the editing phase, and we're going to be going through each one in order. So step 1 is fixing the phase. So you're going to be looking for stereo tracked instruments. You're going to be checking their waveform.
I thought he was making it like super short, but that's not what it was. I don't know. To me, I know it's all gray lines, and I don't know where one thing starts and another one stops. But to me, editing is pretty much everything. I mean, it's everything. If your drums are out of time, it's gonna sound craptastic, you know. Or if your drums are messed up and they need to be edited, it's gonna sound crappy.
And you can see if you can nudge things together to make them feel more full. And that's just because when stuff is tracked, not everything really sounds all that good in phase. The phase might have gotten messed up. So all you're going to do is you're going to go into the tracks, you're going to make them super big, you're going to zoom in, and you're going to listen, and you're just going to see if there's
Okay, so if you guys aren't Reaper users, this kind of thing shows why Reaper was made. It is so much faster at doing all these commands than the way I see this guy working. And it's really, remember, Reaper was in very many ways just specifically made for drum editing at the beginning.
Any parts of any tracks that feel like they are off of each other. You want to make sure that you are lining up the peaks and the valleys as close as you can, because then you're going to be getting the most accurate sound possible and you're not going to be getting any phase cancellation. So for example, I just aligned this part. Let's listen to what it sounds like now that I've done the phase work. And let's listen to what it sounded like before. Here's after again. Now, of course, there's still a little bit of phasiness in there, but it's not nearly...
Now, did he move the track or did he flip the polarity? Is there a polarity button in Logic? I'm looking... not sure.
As bad as it was earlier. And you can even see most of these are quite a bit more lined up than they were before. So you're going to want to make sure that you do that for the entire mix. Anything that's been stereo tracked. So I'm going to go through and do that right now. Okay, so
well, not just stereo tracked, all your drums and everything, like, but it's not as simple as all that. I don't know. You don't want me babbling through this whole thing? Let's just look.
That step 1 is done. We're going to move on to step 2, which is comping. Now, if you don't know what comping is it's basically just creating the best track out of multiple performances of the same part.
Okay, so this, I don't know, man. You really want your assistant doing this? Really? It better be a good assistant. Like, you are banking that this guy knows the best vocal take versus you. I mean, I don't know.
Usually it's used for vocals. Like if you have 7 or 8 different vocal takes, you're going to want to listen to each one of them and see if you can cut the best phrases from each so that you have one fantastic vocal. Now, unfortunately for me, for this one, I have a single vocal track. That's all I have. I don't actually have any doubles or anything that I could use to create a comp. So for this particular song, we're not going to have any comping that we can do. But if you recorded your own song at home, you probably are going to have a lot of comps to create that comp track. So what we're going to do after this is step 3, which is cleaning. First off, we're going to be doing what's known as strip silence. We are trying to get rid of all of the silence in these tracks because a lot of times just noise lives in there. Maybe the background air conditioning or...
This is kind of scary, but I don't really have a problem with it. I just, hopefully you're doing it in a way that it doesn't chop off stuff that you need. But you know, that's the danger of all noise gates, right?
Maybe it's the
And
singer
I'm a noise gate nut, so there we go.
making lip smacks and humming their lines, stuff like that. We just don't really want it in there. So all I'm going to do is go through and get rid of the silence. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to remove silence, and I'm going to strip silence from all of these tracks.
That's a pretty handy
Cool.
feature.
So now you can see I've gone
Reaper has something similar, but I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. It's still a bit weird.
through and I've done all my cleaning. You can see all the space has been removed, all that silence is gone, but now there's gonna be a lot of weird chops and clips. So first off, I'm gonna do some fades, just where I know crossfades are not necessary, because there's just one region and none of the regions are touching. Okay, so I'm gonna select out, and I'm also going to have a fade in as well. Super short, okay, and now I'm gonna select the ones that I know are gonna need some crossfading because they're touching each other. Which honestly, in this particular mix is not that many. I'm probably gonna do it for my vocals as well. Great. So that's just going to
Okay. Notice the video editing here. I don't know. This is another area where Reaper absolutely shines. Not this is an advertisement for Reaper, but if you guys ever wonder why do I use the things I do and why is Reaper the way it is because of stuff like this.
keep all of these different files from clipping there at the end. Now, for these ones that have fade outs, I might honestly add a little bit of a longer fade to the end of them, just to make sure there's not any weird noise going on. Cool.
See, again, man, I know a lot of people say don't use templates or whatever, but so much is just treating things like a blanket, one size fits all kind of thing. And I don't want to criticize really, because I know it's a business is different. You got to work fast. Yeah, it just seems, I don't know, whatever. Sorry.
Cool. That all looks good to me. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add noise gates on my drums and electric guitars. Now I was listening through, I don't actually...
Okay, now here, absolutely, this is, to me, not assistant stuff. And this guy didn't say this is for your assistants to do. This is just how he preps his mix, so fine. Okay, so let me go to gain automation. Again, this
so
may
now
not
let's move
be...
on to step 4, which is gain automation. Now, all this means is we're going to be making sure that the gain, like the relative level of different sections of different instruments, is staying around the same spot. It's going to help us to get much,
again,
much
this isn't
better.
something I would trust an assistant with unless they really knew what they were doing. All right, so here we go to rhythmic editing. This is the important part. This is where I spend 99% of my time.
Turning them
here.
down later on with volume automation. But this is a fairly consistent song, so we're not really going to need to do that too much. So next up is step 5 in the edit process, and that is rhythmic editing. So that's going to be us going in, pocketing our drums, making any rhythmic edit fixes, any timing fixes, and just sort of tightening the doubles
Okay,
and
so
the
they have
harmonies
a-
so that
they
they
have
sound
an,
good with the overall
video
vocals. So I'm going to do this real
just
quick,
does this.
and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, now that we've done our rhythmic timing, now we're going to go on and do our...
Okay, so remember, that is absolutely the vast majority of the time I spend in the mix is actually getting it to sound tight. You know, sorry if, you know, Luddites don't like it. And I mean, if you really want this organic mix and stuff, I can do that. I don't think you'll like it, but I can do it. But for most people, they really want things right.
tuning. That's step 6.
And then here's the other part that really takes some time, and I am absolutely not happy with the tools we have out there on the market right now for this. Things were actually a little bit better a long time ago, actually, with some of the early versions of Auto-Tune. To me, I love Waves Tune. There's a couple things I wish they would fix. I can't use it because it can't be rendered except for as the master mix, which is ridiculous, and that's really kind of a sad thing because I really love the way it works.
This is going to be the last step in the editing process. Now, obviously, you can use your DAW's tuning plugin if it has one. There's also third-party tuning plugins like Melodyne or Auto-Tune. I'm a big fan of Melodyne myself, so I'm going to grab Melodyne and get to work. Okay, great. So now that we've...
Okay, so this again, I don't know how useful this video is. That's really where I want to see the assistants really getting their stuff down. Vocal tuning is no joke. Like, turning everything to T-Pain with just an auto mode setting with G-Snap or whatever. I mean, whatever. But really making vocals sound good with tuning, it takes a while, man. It's not a quick thing. Again, there's supposed to be a video. I guess we could watch that, but I really wanted to find one where they're talking about how the assistants prep a mix. Let me see. Prepare a mix. How to prepare a mix. Let's watch. The same guy. How to prepare your recordings for mixing. Let's see what this guy. Another beardo. This guy like combines me. He's got the hat and the beard.
I've been receiving a bunch of questions lately regarding preparation before starting a mix. So what I decided to do is to share with you my process, the way I prepare my recordings
Okay, so this is how he does it, not how he would have his assistant do it.
for mixing.
So I'm not sure how well it's...
What is going on? Chris Elim here from Mixdown Online. First, if you're new here on the channel, things for mixing. Okay, my process goes like this. First of all, when I produce music, the mixing stage is done completely separated from the actual recordings. Okay, so I create a full new project when it comes to mixing. I keep the recording and mixing session separately from each other. Okay, so this is the perspective that I have when I prepare my recordings for mixing. So the first thing I do is I make sure that all of my tracks and recordings are well edited before starting a mix. In my book, mixing is not editing. That doesn't mean that I don't edit while mixing, because I do. Sometimes I will have to pitch correct one line or move the kick, just a slight bit, to fix the timing issue. That is going to happen, but it is going to be to a minimum because of all the work done before that mixing stage. So editing is actually one part of music production that I think is very important to follow. So I do make sure that all of my tracks and recordings are well edited, meaning that crossfades are well done, fade in and fade outs also sound smooth so I don't end up with glitches and clicks and unwanted sounds and noises. I make sure that none of my tracks are peaking also and stuff like that. As far as timing and pitch correction, same thing. I do that part while editing the project. When it comes to fixing timing of a drum recording and bass, I'm going to do this during editing. Same for pitch correction, to pitch correct a vocal.
Yeah, see,
Whether it's
Cubase has its own pitch corrector. That looks pretty cool.
lead or back vocals, everything is done within the editing process. Same for alignment, vocal alignment and stuff like that. I do all of this while editing and not while mixing. Put it like this: if you send your tracks to a mixing engineer and you expect the mixing engineer to work on pitch correction, timing issues, and removal of all glitches and noises, you're probably going to end up with a call from the mixing engineer telling you that your tracks are not ready to be mixed. So very important to edit your tracks before starting to mix. Then what I do is I bounce all of my MIDI in audio. Again, if I was to send my tracks to another mixing engineer to mix my music, I would bounce all MIDI instruments into audio. So that's why I do it even if I do mix myself. And I also find it very practical, just the fact that I commit right away to the sounds that I have, the performance that I have. I bounce everything into audio, and it's also very...
This really isn't prepare a mix. Mixing template. I'm scared to actually click on this thing. Let's do it.
Congratulations! You've made the decision to have your song mixed by a professional mixing engineer. So what preparations do you need to make? In this video, I'm going to go through 6 steps that will ensure your mixes communicate your expectations and desires.
Managing
Have a
expectations.
detailed conversation with
like
your
this.
engineer about what you want and what is and isn't included in their mixing service. Get clear on what's expected from you in terms of providing files, session information and payment.
Not a bad idea.
Also ask what final deliverables are included as standard and if there are any extra costs for additional mixes or revisions. If you have any priorities such as turnaround time, particular processing or effects that you want using, then communicate that. Think about the bit depth and sample rate you're going to need to upload to your distributor and ask for that to be provided as one of the deliverables. Will you need a DDP image if you're having an EP or album mixed and want to sell physical CDs? Common deliverables include a mastered mix or pre-master mix, an instrumental, additional charges. Step 2, ask if your engineer has any specific requirements before you get asked for is
There we go.
to name the tracks logically, to add sequential numbers to the track names, so 01 kick, 02 snare, 03 hi-hat, Bypass all the plugins, except for the ones that make up the sound that you have carefully crafted and want to keep in the mix. Remove all automation, and make sure all the edits have fades to prevent audible clicks and pops. Then, to consolidate or export all the tracks from the same starting point,
Yeah, I was skeptical about clicking, but this is all sensible stuff here.
and then some might
But,
ask you to provide
again-
DI tracks for the guitars and the bass in case they want to reamp anything later. Naming your tracks in a specific
Let's see.
complete all editing, tuning, and finalize the arrangement. Editing and tuning are not part of the mixing process. Some engineers will do it for an extra fee or have it listed as part of the package, but don't assume it's a normal part of a mixer's service. You'll just end
See, that's my problem. I do way too much. I should just turn the volume, but I don't want to put out a crappy product. You know, that's the issue. You know, I don't know where we're gonna get from here, so I think let me just move on to this mix that I'm working on actually. And like I said, I get pretty much far into the drum mixes before I even start tuning the vocals, and that's probably very wrong according to many of these guys, and not that they're wrong. Okay, so let me just look at what we got here. Okay. Vocals.
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Your boss showed you to the door. Have a drink and then maybe 15 more. My ex had it out for me. I said, I'm just tempering. She cried and tried to tell me there's no such thing. Next year will be the year for me. Got plans to check out Italy.
Oh, okay. All right, good. You skiing out of here? So I'll be pulling up Melodyne here. So here's put their fades on here. I really, you know, I'm always struggling to come up with the Reaper theme that is easy to see in all cases. So really the smartest thing to do, because Melodyne's using ARA now, if you don't know, audio random access, very handy thing. It can actually take information, timing and pitch information from the DAW itself. But that does make some trouble if you don't edit your stuff first. So let me try and get these pretty close to time aligned.
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You.
Okay. And in a second, I'm going to have to find out exactly what key this is. So what I could do here, throw a stretch marker right here and right here. Drag this guy up. I don't really want to shrink this beginning, but and I don't know that I really want to do stretch markers on here, but seems to be maybe the thing. See how this one's too short right here? Get here. And then we're going to find out when we undo this one if that's about.
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Your boss.
So you can hear that there's a little bit of tuning problem, but we'll deal with that.
Before your boss showed you to the door. Have a drink and then maybe 15 more. My.
See how this one's shorter than these ones. I don't know. Do I want the longer one? So this could take a while. So I used to have to do this with editing without stretching, and it was kind of a lot more unfortunate. This is actually a lot smoother nowadays. So I got 3 here. I could use all 3 tracks. I used to always triple vocal tracks. I don't as much anymore, but it's not a bad idea. We'll see how this one goes. Okay, so What do I want to do here? I could actually split this here. This guy up a little bit. Still shorter. Probably time for a stretch marker here. Stretch marker here. I have some reasons for why I'm putting them where I am that maybe it seems like they're not quite where you would put them. You do a rough one up here to get the beginnings right.
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You
And I don't mind if they're a little bit off from each other. It's just it's when it's egregiously off that makes trouble.
go before you bought, go before you bought.
Okay. And so this before, there's a little bit of a problem. Oops. So let's, oops. Hitting the wrong. Yeah, I'll move that back in a second. Just give me a second. Those here. So less I can do with stretches, the better, but there are some stretches that do need to happen. So this used to be a lot trickier of a process. And I might have to put a couple more stretch markers in this. And you see how fiddly this is right there to get it to the right tool? Now I've asked about this several times and hoping that Justin finds a way to make this a little bit an easier process to get that. When I just want to do the left and right tool rather than the up and down, it's really finicky. And that is just unfortunate. Can't see, so I don't want any of that. This guy back where it goes. I have to do the same thing down here. And yeah, I know this is like watching paint dry. And believe me, as unfun as it is to watch, it's even more unfun to do. Especially, like I say, it's so finicky to grab the exact right spot. I really hope they're going to make that better. Okay, so let's see how this before sounds now.
Heard it all before you bought. Heard it all before you bought. Heard it all before you bought.
Here's some kind of click.
Before you bought. Before you bought. Before you bought. Before you bought.
Now, I'd normally be inclined to think that's a stretching artifact, but that is more a glitch. And I could conceivably crossfade that into each other to fix that, but what I'm going to do is really, I'm assuming this is going to be my loudest track on top, and the other two are going to support it. So I'm going to make that one loud. Maybe you're going to hear that thing in the side, but it won't be as bad. If it still makes trouble, I'm going to split it and put it together. It's a very suspicious looking problem there. It almost looks like an electronic or, maybe a computer buffering problem or something. Here's something really messed up. Not sure if I can fix that one.
Don't have a drinking. Don't have a drinking. Don't have a drink. Don't have a drink.
There's some weird sounds to this. Sure. Tell you what, I am going to just going to remove all these effects.
Don't have a drinking and maybe 15 more. My ex had it out for me.
See, and I think in Melodyne you might be able to change the timing, but I don't really use it that way, so I'm not 1000% positive.
Showed you.
Okay, in this case, I'm not going to do a stretch. I'm going to, I might still do a stretch, but first I'm going to just cut through that S. I don't really mind if that S gets messed up. It should be okay. If I can just move it, I'm going to move it.
Boss showed you to. Boss showed you.
I'm going to make this a little bit shorter.
Boss showed you to the door. Boss showed you to the door.
So notice I haven't started tuning yet.
Showed you to the door. Showed you to the door.
Okay, so this, I don't know how that's going to fix. I don't know what that is. Let's see.
Door, have a drink in. Door, have a drink.
Okay, so he just went quick. So let's take 1, 2, 3. I'm assuming these are the same thing. Yeah. Shoot. Okay. So this is what we got. I could probably stretch it. Let's see. Probably not going to be pleasant. Ooh. Oh man, I hate the finickiness.
Do have a drink.
Actually, that's not that bad. Sorry. It's actually not that bad.
Do have a drinking. Do have a drinking.
Okay. What's going on with this one? Not really sure. We'll move this. Then I'm going to stretch this one. Let's see if that... Actually, let me stretch here. So there's so many ways to skin this cat. It's a little tricky. And I don't want that to bunch up like that.
Do have a drinking. Do have a drinking then maybe. Do have a drinking then.
See, and I may be going just way too, being too finicky about this. It could possibly be, I could leave a lot of this and not mess with it and it'd be fine.
Have a drinking then.
Again, I think there might be a way in Melodyne to actually fix some of this stuff, but I'm not really super crazy about their editor.
Have a drinking then. Have a drinking then. Oh, have a drinking then maybe 15 more. $15 more.
Okay, we got to figure out what key this is in a second too, but let me finish editing this first. So this I could stretch, or I could kind of collapse it.
15 more. 15 more.
Or I could just leave it be because I don't really hear a problem, even though it's visually seems wrong. I'm going to stretch this one though. These other two are longer, and I think that works out better.
More. 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 More.
But I hear that click. What is that?
More.
So that's the stretch. So that, maybe I can't stretch it there. Let me make sure something didn't happen here that keeps happening. Efficient. Okay, no, that's right. Let me try putting the stretch marker ahead of the beat a little bit, or ahead of where I want to go. Let's see what happens. Ah, yeah, it's so annoying. Should we go torture Justin about that right now? We could.
More. 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 More.
Do you hear this popping and clicking that it does every once in a while? There's still something weird about, drivers are still a little bit craptastic, but
More. My ex had it out for me. I said, I'm just.
okay, so this is all pretty good here. And if you really zoom out, you'll stop making so many super crazy critical edits. And sometimes I need to do that because I will quickly and easily get myself into analysis paralysis. But we just rough these together and see if this doesn't just sound pretty good.
My ex had it out for me. I said.
Okay, now one thing to worry about here is this H sound is very much louder than some of this other stuff. I'm gonna do a little shrink right here. Okay. Same thing over here, I think. So this is gonna sound weird when it's soloed by itself. Watch when I edit this.
For me, I said. For me, I said. For me, I said.
That's not great. Actually, what I should do, just shorten this part. I don't even need a stretch marker for that. Hold on. So I'm moving contents inside. Slip edit. Oh, okay, hold on. I got that. We're having a problem for one of our Pro Tools customers who I'm trying to figure out right now. So Dave's looking at it. So what I probably should be doing is splitting these things out, moving them, and then using the stretch markers on just the bad one so it doesn't affect the good one.
Get it out for me, I said. Get it out for me, I said. I'm just tapering. She cried and tried to tell me there's no such thing.
You know, again, I probably should leave these alone. You don't want them exactly the same, otherwise there's no point in having multiple vocals, you know. But I just get paranoid.
Said, I'm just tapering. She cried and tried to tell me there's no such thing.
See, like that, it really looks off, right? But we're not hearing it that way. And yet, I just can't let it go. This is where you kind of got to learn how to do like the girl said in Frozen, right? Just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Oh, man, it's never ending. This is just the very beginning of the vocals, and it's already... This is why. So, I mean, when these guys are charging crazy money, but only really spend a couple hours, like I'm fixing everything I need to fix, and then some maybe. But I mean, if you don't want that, you don't have to. Just as I'm setting my prices and treating this more like a business, I'm just noticing that I do things a little different.
Next year will be the year for me. Got plans to check out Italy.
Having Reaper do the spectral peaks, man, this makes it so much easier for editing.
Check out Italy. Check out Italy.
So eyes. Oh, it's a little weird. I can stretch that. I'm just gonna move it, I think.
To check out Italy. To check out Italy. To check out Italy.
So it's just phrased a lot shorter. So in the old days, before we had the stretch markers, you would just grab the end. I mean, if you're just stretching one item.
Check out Italy. Take time and really try to find myself.
Okay, so that's a bend. That's gonna be a little bit tricky. So here we go. Now here comes the real deal here. Set these all the same volume. Yeah, basically. I'm really having trouble with the Oh, slightly. Let's see, 60. There we go. Let me just gonna remind Justin that these fader handles are unfun. So I'm saying it's still super finicky when working with stretch markers to get the mouse tool to where it's left, right only, rather than up, down. For moving the stretch markers. There we go. So I just let coder know. Okay, so here we have first verse ready for tuning.
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Your boss showed you to the door. Have a drink and then maybe 15 more. My ex had it out for me. I said,
Okay, so now we got to figure out.
yeah, man, I heard it all before. Your boss showed you to the door.
Figure out what key this song's in. Scale finder. Okay, so guitar. Okay. It's G sharp.
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Your boss.
I think that's it. So I don't know what that note is. So G sharp, B, F sharp. Let me see. Try to play this again.
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Your boss showed you to the door. Have a drink and then maybe 15 more. My ex had it out for me. I said, I'm just everything. She cried and tried to tell me there's no such thing.
Oop, oop. I don't know if those are really in the key. I'm seeing G sharp natural minor. Let's see about. I think that's right. I think it's G sharp minor. We shall see. I'll put the notes in there and we'll find out. So I'm gonna add Melodyne to this track. And man, Melodyne's really sketchy to me. It does some really cool things. DNA is incredible. That's so far ahead of its time, and now we got a lot more tools like that, but it's still pretty awesome. It's thinking it's C minor. I don't agree. Where did the scale finder go? Okay, so well, the coolest things about Melodyne, and this is what they should all be doing, is you can edit any other track from the track you're on. But I really think this is, so this thing is saying that this could be C sharp minor, D sharp minor, F sharp minor, G sharp minor. I think it's G sharp. It's saying C minor though. Let me just see what happens. And I really don't know how to use this properly. I really struggle with the manual.
Yeah, man, I heard it all before.
Okay, so I'm gonna mute This ARA save thing is absolutely completely frustrating, and this is what makes me part of what makes me not want to use Melodyne, honestly. Something's feeling really sketchy at the same time. So, let's see. So if I grab them all and I force them at least onto the pitch center, I don't really know what the pitch drift does. 0, 100. Not really doing that much, but let me see what this sounds like.
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Your boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, maybe 15 more.
So either there's chromatic notes, or I'm just not getting something right here. See these ones right here?
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Yeah, man, I heard it all. Yeah, man, I heard it all. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Yeah, man, I heard it all before.
See, this was saying to put it halfway through, so let me go to scale editor, note editor. There's like a snap thing. Where is it? Okay, chromatic snap.
Yeah, man, I heard it all.
So it was saying it's here.
Yeah, man, I heard it all.
Sounds wrong to me. I think this is G sharp minor, right?
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Your boss showed you to. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. Your boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, have a drink in there, baby.
Now these got a lot of bends in them, so I really don't know.
Have a drink in there, baby. Have a drink in there, baby. Have a drink in there, baby.
It's like some real honky tonk, huh? Eesh. Okay.
Have a drink in there, baby. 15 more. My ex headed out. Have a drink in there, baby. 15 more. My ex headed out.
Ooh.
My ex headed out for me.
You know, this one's scary.
My ex headed out for me. I said,
Now I could attempt to like flatten that.
my ex headed out for me. I said,
What note is that? Da.
my ex headed out for me. I said,
So I don't know. Is it?
my ex headed out for me. I said, I'm just different. She, my ex headed out for me. I said, I'm just different. Yeah, my ex headed out for me. I said, I'm just different. She, my ex headed out for me. I said, I'm just different. She cried. She cried and tried to tell me that. She cried and tried to tell me that. She cried and tried to tell me that. No such thing. No such thing. No such thing. No such thing. Next year will be the year for me. Got plans to check out Italy. Got plans to check out Italy. Got plans to check out Italy. TikTok and try to
These bends right
try. Got plans to check out Italy. TikTok and try to find myself.
here. Okay. So there's the first one. Now again, it sucks when it's ambiguous, and I don't really know what the right note is. I'm just guessing. I'm just using my experience, my lack of music theory, and you know, I think I have a functional music theory understanding to some degree that helps with this, but I'm not 1,000% confident on a couple of those notes, and it's way worse when it comes to drum edits. And it could be, a triplet, or it could be a smaller division, and you just don't know. Is that really something you want to leave to an assistant? Like, man, they better be good. Okay, so here's the really cool thing about Melodyne here. Now I'm going to play the second track. So it's going to show the original in gray, or it's going to show the first track in gray, so I can match these pitches up. So again, I'm going to select them all. I'm going to tell them to get to the correct pitch center.
Yeah. I heard it all. Yeah, man, I heard it all before you. Yeah, man, I heard it all before you. Boss showed you to the door.
Okay, so this one, it looks like it's the wrong one, but because this pitch trail is so high up there, it might be right.
Boss showed you to the door. Boss showed you to the door.
I'm not thrilled about that one right there. That's
Show you. Boss showed you to the door. Boss showed you to the door. Have a drink. Boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there.
I wonder if that's wrong on the first one.
Drink. Drink. Oh, have a drink in there, baby. Oh, have a drink in there. Oh, have a drink in there, baby. Oh, have a drink in there, baby.
Okay, see, one of these is a little more subdued on the band. I'm probably going to have to bring that down. I don't think you can show that between tracks, but
Oh, have a drink in there, baby.
that's nice. Okay, see what I'm talking about?
More. Oh, have a drink in there, baby. 15 more.
Now, I don't know. You can say I'm making it look easy or whatever. But what I've seen people do in these things is they just run it in auto mode and be done with it.
My ex had it out for me. Had it out.
See, I did this on the last track too. I had to split these guys.
Yes. I did.
I split this one. There we go.
No. My ex had it out for me. I said, I'm just different. She cried and tried to tell me there's no such thing. Next year will be the year for me. Yeah. For me.
That's not right.
Yeah. My ex had it out for me. I said, I'm just different. She cried and tried to tell me there's no such thing. Next year will be the year for me. Got plans to check out Italy. TikTok and time. Truck.
Ooh, that might be a problem.
Truck. Will be the year for me. Got plans to check out Italy. TikTok and really try to find. Time to really try to find myself.
Okay. Now I'm going to put both the old ones up. And here's the third track. I'm gonna unmute the third track. Select them all. Okay.
Yeah. Beat up.
I'm gonna split that one.
Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, baby. Have a drink in there, baby. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, baby. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, baby. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, baby. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, baby. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, baby. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, baby. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, baby. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, baby. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door. Have a drink in there, baby. Yeah, man, I heard it all before. You boss showed you to the door maybe have a drink and then Drinking there, baby.
Oh, come on, let me grab it. Oh, not left, right, up, down. Oh, come on. Oh, that's so annoying. Let me just pull them all down. I'll just grab these two. That's a pain.
Drinking there, baby. Drinking there,
Pull this one up a little bit.
drinking there, baby. Baby, drinking there, drinking there, baby. 15 more. My ex.
You're gonna see this a lot. These octaves. It really depends how it detects. That's okay.
Drinking there, baby. 15 more. My ex headed.
Oh God, come on, that is annoying. Let me grab it.
My ex headed out for me. I said,
So that was that weird edit where it kind of sounded froggy and I had to move it. That's why.
my ex headed out for me. I said, I'm just my ex headed out for me. I said, I'm just delivering shit for me. I said, I'm just delivering. I'm just delivering shit. I'm just delivering. She cried and cried. She cried and tried. She cried and tried. She cried and tried to tell me that. She cried and tried to tell. She cried and tried to tell me that no such thing. Next year will be the. She cried and tried to tell me that no such thing. Next year will be the year for me. Got got got.
This is one of those cases where auto tune is way better. This is gonna be a nasty join right here.
Got me elite TikTok. Top. Top. Trap. Elite TikTok. Really try to. Really try to. Really try to. Really try to find myself.
Now, vocal track started at track 126. Okay, I can get rid of this one. There doesn't seem to be anything here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, there are just piles of tracks to tune, and I understand this is why people go and throw it in automatic mode. I'm gonna have to do all these by hand, I'm gonna, if they need them anyway. So this is gonna take a while, and yeah, I don't expect you to sit around and watch the paint dry with me. But this is the kind of mix prep you're doing. Is you're really doing all this stuff. It's a lot, man, and like, yeah, just having somebody run it through some automatic thing, it doesn't work. And a lot of these could be on the same track. Maybe there's like different types of sounds you want on different parts. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking I don't really want to change the vocal sounds that much, and maybe just throw everything on the same tracks. I'll think about it. See if I can consolidate this so much. But again, this is going to be like watching paint dry, so I'm not going to force anybody to watch this stuff with me. But I'll see you guys later. Just wanted to word about mix prep, and